After a long time, Dad said, Then, well, son, what can I say? It's pretty much permanent, isn't it? Dad's voice was real calm, and that was scarier than if he'd been yelling. Yes, Dad. Yes, Dad. So there's really nothing I can do, is there? I don't think so, Dad. You don't think so, Dad? Well, judging by the condition of your hair, I wouldn't say thinking was one of your strong suits, is it? Byron mumbled something. Wow, he must have really felt like he didn't have anything to lose, 'cause Mama and Dad just didn't tolerate mumbling. Dad's voice shifted. Excuse me? I said no, Dad. No, Dad. Joey started boo-hooing again. Whenever Dad repeated everything you said like that, some real big trouble was about to follow. You know, maybe there is something that can be done about this after all. Suddenly, Dad and Byron were in the doorway leading upstairs. Dad looked surprised to see me and Joey sitting there. He smiled at us. Hi, Kenneth. Hi, Pumpkin. Why are you two crying? I could just point at my ear, but Joey said, Oh, Daddy, please, what are you going to do? Don't worry, Joe. Everything's okay. You wait, just wait down here. Dad and Byron disappeared into the bathroom, and the door locked behind them. Dad hadn't told me to wait downstairs, so I ran up and stood at the bathroom door, peeking through the keyhole. Someone had stuffed some toilet paper in the hole, though, so I had to drop to the floor and peek under the door to see what was going on. From the way Dad and Bai's feet were standing, I could tell that Bai was sitting on the toilet and Dad was standing at the sink. Dad was rumbling around in the medicine cabinet. I could hear Bai sniff a couple of times. Then Dad started whistling that stupid song, Straighten Up and Fly Right. Dad's feet took the 2 steps from the sink to the toilet. Byron said, Aw, man! I heard a ch-ch sound, and the floor around their feet started being covered with stiff, reddish-brown Mexican-style hair. Dad kept whistling and cutting. Ch-ch. Aw, man! Hold your head still. I'd hate to take one of those ears off by mistake. Dad went on whistling. Ch-ch. Aw, man! Kenneth, what are you doing? Mom called me from downstairs. I ran from the door and got halfway down the steps before I said, Nothing, Mama. Come on down here and do nothing. Yes, Mama. What's your father doing? He's whistling Straighten Up and Fly Right and cutting all of Byron's hair off. Mama laughed. Joey sat next to her, still looking worried. The 3 of us sat on the couch for about half an hour before we heard Bai scream as loud as he could. Dad hollered down to us, Just a little aftershave. We heard the bathroom door open. Dad came down the steps first. Mrs. Watson, he said, I'd like to introduce you to your long-lost son from Siam, His Royal Highness Yule Watson. Byron stepped into the living room with a real mean scowl on his face. Not only had Dad cut off all of Byron's hair, he'd also shaved his head. Bai's head was so shiny, it looked like it was wet. And, Mrs. Watson, Dad said, you can't possibly deny this is your child. You can tell this boy has got a ton of Sans blood in him. Look at those ears. Poor Byron. If he'd have known how far his ears stuck out from the side, I bet he never would have gotten that butter. Mama put her hand over her mouth and said, Lord, don't blame that one on my side of the family. Someone switched this child at the hospital. Joey laughed because she was relieved Byron hadn't been executed. Mama and Dad laughed at Byron's ears, but none of them laughed as hard as me. Go get the broom and the dustpan and sweep that garbage in the bathroom up. Then go stay in your room. This is it, Bi. You're old enough now, and you've been told enough. This time, something's going to be done. Now beat it. Dad's forehead was all wrinkled when he said this. They sent me and Joey outside so they could have one of those adults-only talks. When me and Joey drifted back into the house after what seemed enough time for them to talk, Dad was on the telephone. He was holding the receiver away from his ear and making a funny face. I could hear someone yelling from the phone. Dad whispered to Mama, "Why does she think she's got to yell into the phone for a long-distance call?" Mama slapped his arm and whispered back, "You leave my mama alone." They were talking to Grandma Sands, all the way in Alabama. Me and Joey crowded up next to them on the couch and heard Grandma Sands yell, "This is costing y'all a fortune, Daniel. Let me talk to my baby again." Dad handed the phone back to Mama, then dug his finger around in his ear like he was going deaf. Mama gave Dad a dirty look, then said, "Okay, Mama, we'll be getting back with you. We love you, bye-bye." She said this stuff Southern style. And that was it. We thought that was the end of Byron's latest adventure, until a week later when Dad brought home the TT AB 700 in the brown bomber.